If you already own or are looking to buy a house in Ocean City here in 2024, I want to ring the alarm bell in today's video. I'm going to take you through what's happened so far in February. Compare that to not only what happened last year, but we're seeing a lot of worrying trends that we saw in January picking up steam here. So I want to dive into what that all means for you, whether you're on the buying or selling side. If this is the first market update you've seen with me, we are going to start with what happened in the past, bring a little context around what's happening now with a lot of visualizations and images. So some people who, if you're more visual, can really get a feel for things. And then we're going to go into the predictions and the forecasts. What does it mean going forward? So mortgage rates have actually come up a little bit. They've stayed around 6.5 for the better part of the year, but we're starting to see them tick upwards again. That's a direct result of some very strong job reports and some stronger than expected inflation reports. Nothing worrying. It does not seem that that's going to change the Fed's position, that they're going to start increasing the prime rates again. Not expected to be the case. There are still 3 rate cuts predicted for 2024, and that came from the Fed themselves. Likely the first one's going to be in June. So for now, yes, they ticked up a hair, but we're going to fluctuate, I believe, between 6.5, 6.75 for the next few months. Inventory-wise, we actually took a dip in the first part of February, which is not normal. Usually we start to see inventory increase. And the one year that we didn't see that was 2022. And if you were not looking down here in 2022, that was the hottest time period before rates started picking back up. Very, very fast activity, strong everything, but inventory really took a dive. And I really hope that's not going to be the case here. We'll get into that in a minute. Days on market, very stable. We're going to see a spike in the single family world, and I'll explain that. And prices are still basically where they have been, where they're growing substantially for condos year over year. Single family, I've explained this in past videos, but the short version is we had a lot of high-end new construction selling about a year ago. Those have fallen off the 12-month rolling average that I used to measure this. So we've seen things come down a bit, but we actually saw them pick up a bit in February compared to the last few months. We'll see that again in a second. But new listings, this is one of the things I really want to spend a lot of time on because there's 2 things that drive this market. And this is going to sound very basic, and it is. How many new listings do we get? How many homes go under contract? So new listing wise, again, we fell about 33% short of where we were in the past 3 Januaries last month. Very, very short. You could see that on the graphs. Now, February, we're on pace to see about the same shortfall, about 32 to 33%, depending on where we land. Best case scenario, I think we're at least 25% short, and that's substantial. So that's a bad direction if you're looking to buy. If you're looking to sell, you're getting some more cards placed back in your hand to play. Now, pending sales, this is what I really want to stick on. If we just look over here at January and February, now February is, extrapolated out based off of what we saw over the first half of the month. But we have had stronger sales. We're on pace to have stronger sales in both months compared to the same months last year. So say this with me. If we have more homes going under contract and less homes listing and hitting the market, inventory is not going to grow. Prices are going to grow. So we are shaping up to see a very tight spring. Again, closed sales I like to look at, but that's a lagging indicator, nothing I want to read too much into, but still consistently solid sales over the past 2 years. It's indicative of a balanced, stable market. Months of inventory. We're still sitting around 5 months of inventory. Anything below 6 still leans towards sellers, but it's still very, very stable, all things considered. We're not back in the 2 months of inventory days where it's full-blown chaos. Now this one, prices. We saw a chunk upwards this month, or expected to see a chunk upwards this month. And that's about what I anticipated, right? I've been saying this for the better part of 6 to 8 months. I think we are going to be between 1.5 and 1.6, and we're going to vary and fluctuate within there for the foreseeable future. Now, come the end of this year, I think we could push back above 1.6 as prices start to rise again, which is what I'm anticipating based off of what I'm seeing now. That can always change in the future, but I really don't expect it to. Now, this one, again, days on market. Why did it jump up all of a sudden? Number one, this is based off of only the few transactions that sold so far. I don't know exactly how many days on market. The rest of the closings will be by the time they close. So that will likely change, but I don't expect it to change much. Reason being, we had 2 properties. One of them was my listing at 50 Bay Road. It was on the market for well over 100 days, which is abnormal. So when you have 2 out of 4 listings at over 100 days on market, it's going to make things a little bit hairy. So at the same time, last March, our average days of inventory, because of a lot of, I'll say, older new construction that have been there for a while, was up over 100 days at 124 days. So that's going to fall off next month. So this is not going to be a trend. This does not mean things are sitting longer. This is an anomaly. We'll see it start to tick back down again soon. Now, months of inventory for condos, we're heading in the downward direction. I'm not going to say whether it's the right or wrong direction, but if you're trying to buy, it's the wrong direction. Things are getting tighter there. Prices still rising there again, and this is consistent. I could show you back to 2019. It's going to look the same, continuing upwards, and we're seeing multiple offers again. We're seeing fast offers again on homes that are in great shape, unique locations, good situations. Now, days on market, again, we're flat. Maybe we're going to head downwards a hair, but we're going to stay below 50 days without a doubt. Now, prediction time, mortgages, right? People, I don't want to say overreact to the mortgage rate. It's a very, very powerful thing that has a lot to do with how much money you're going to pay. But it only has so much with how much you're going to pay because you have to pay the principal regardless, right? The interest rate, whether it's 6.75% or 5.5%, there's a difference. Don't get me wrong, but it's not as substantial as if you're just paying cash, right? It's a totally different ballgame. So we have still two competing, very different factions: the rate sensitive population and the one that's not. Cash is still a very heavy player down here. Now, if you are waiting for rates to come down again, I don't expect them to hit 6 by the end of the year. That's best case scenario. My opinion is that we hit 6%. With election season, and it's really less that, but more of the timing of the reports that are going to be coming out, jobs reports, inflation, et cetera. The first rate cut by the Fed, which is a quarter basis point. We're not doing one whole point cuts. They're expected to do 3 1/4 point cuts over the course of 2024. The first one's expected now to be in June, which is what I expected all along. So I don't think we're going to see much of a difference over the next 4 months. And even if we are, it's going to be within a quarter of a point up or down. Not going to make or break your decision, nor should it make or break your decision. So don't bank on any mortgage rate relief anytime soon. Inventory wise, again, this was not normal to have inventory decrease in February. If you go back over the last 5 to 6 years, every year outside of 2022, inventory went up. But here we are going downwards. Now we're halfway through the month. That could certainly change, but it's not a great indicator if you're looking to buy. And again, the key that I hit on earlier, I want to emphasize for you: when we are 30+% lower in the new listings that hit the market, the new homes that are getting put out there compared to last year, and our demand is higher, there are more homes going under contract, that is a very telling sign of what's to come. So again, at the beginning of this, I mentioned I'm ringing the alarm bell. When I put out the video 2 weeks ago, that wasn't the case. I felt it coming, but I didn't have enough data yet to support it. Now I feel that I have the data to make that call. So if you're looking to buy, speed is going to be of the utmost importance again. Now, prices, I think I've talked enough about those, but the point being, inventory is likely to increase maybe slightly now, best case through March, and then it normally declines a bit anyway. I think there's a real possibility that we really don't see inventory crack 250 over the next few months. And 250 used to be, the super low. We were under 200 during the absolute lowest of lows back in 2021. But really, if we're staying around 200 to 250, that's an incredibly strong market. There's really not a lot of selection. And again, not just that, but you have to match it with the amount of homes going under contract, which is still staying very, very strong. So with that said, I have taken on quite a few new clients over the last week as people were coming out of the woodwork after the Super Bowl, which is normal. That's usually what happens as people wake up and start looking again. So if you are looking for someone to help you navigate this complicated and now fast-paced process, feel free to reach out to me any of the ways you see here, whether that's to buy or sell, because strategy and understanding the data and all of this is a huge differentiator that will give you a leg up if you're selling because you know what's coming. And from a buyer standpoint, we can have those tougher conversations about, may there be something better that comes than the one that you're looking at now? It's always a possibility. But what are the risks? What are the upsides? And what are the likelihoods that you'll see something better? We can pull everything from history and help you out there too. So that's it. I appreciate you hanging out with me. And if you did like this, if you found it helpful, do me a favor and hit the thumbs up button if you haven't already. Hit the subscribe button. We broke 500 subscribers a couple of weeks ago, so I thank each and every one of you for tuning in and for trusting me as your go-to here for data and real estate information in Ocean City. But thanks again. I'll see you next time.